So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2021 end of year celebration for both the Rutgers Department of Jewish Studies and the Alan and Joan Bildner Center for the Study of Jewish Life. I'm Professor Paola Tartikoff, Chair of the Department of Jewish Studies. And as we get started, I'd like to invite everyone, if you're able and if you haven't already, to turn on your videos. It's so great to be together today, and we want to do everything possible to enhance our sense of community. And a couple other comments about Zoom. Please remember you can adjust your viewing settings. For instance, if you'd prefer to spotlight a speaker rather than a slide, and the control for this is likely in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You're encouraged to type congratulatory remarks in the chat, and a heads up that this event is being recorded, so people who are unable to join in real time will be able to view it later. Lastly, in terms of preliminary remarks, I want to remind everyone that the Rutgers University commencement will be live streamed on May 16th at 2 p.m. and the Rutgers School of Arts and Sciences convocation will be live streamed on May 18th at 11 a.m. It is my pleasure this afternoon to extend a warm welcome to students and their families and friends, to university faculty, including core, associate, and affiliated faculty of the Department of Jewish Studies, to Executive Vice Dean and Professor of History, Jim Michelli, to Dean of the Humanities and Distinguished Professor of English, Rebecca Walkowitz, to Director of Development for the Humanities, Allison Klein, to Hillel Executive Director, Andrew Getreyer, and Senior Associate Director, Rabbi Esther Reed, to the donors who make our student awards possible, to former and current Bildner Center visiting fellows, and last but not least, to the staff of the Department of Jewish Studies and the Bildner Center, including Nancy Sinkoff, Karen Small, Jenny Gurman, Sarah Portilla, Darcy Maher, and Hannah Feldman. The academic year that's drawing to a close has challenged all of us in new ways. And it's gratifying to recognize that every member of the Jewish Studies Department and the Bildner Center has stepped up to continue to provide the very best opportunities for students and the broader community. It was particularly meaningful this year that the Senior Associate Administrator of both the department and the center, Jenny Gurman, who was central to putting together today's event and is hosting and moving the slides behind the scenes as I speak, received a Rutgers University Staff Excellence Award. Jenny, you're phenomenal, and we are so grateful for all that you do. I also want to acknowledge the extraordinary energy and diligence of our fall and spring undergraduate directors, Professors Michal Rauscher and Gary Rensburg. Students, you are the focus of our program today. I commend you for your persistence in difficult and uncertain times, and I wish you every good fortune and success. In spite of ongoing challenges, this has been a year of achievement for both the department and the center. We'll hear about the Bildner Center in a moment from its academic director, Professor Nancy Sinkoff. On the department's end, I'd like to highlight faculty's remarkable scholarly achievements, especially because the relationship between faculty research and teaching in this department is so reciprocal. Our Hebrew language coordinator and instructor, Orna Goldman, has continued to serve as the managing editor of the journal Hebrew Higher Education. Professors Michal Rauscher, Jeffrey Chandler, and I published new books whose topics span the reproductive choices of ultra-Orthodox women in Israel, the history of the Yiddish language, and medieval ritual murder accusations. Professor Nancy Sinkoff's 2019 book on the Jewish American historian Lucy Davidovich won the National Jewish Book Award in the category of biography. Professor Azan Yadin Israel's new book manuscript on How the Apple Became the Forbidden Fruit was accepted for publication by the University of Chicago Press. Professor Jeffrey Chandler won a National Endowment for the Humanities Fellowship for his work on Jewish museums. And Professor Gary Rensburg won a fellowship from the Getty Villa in Los Angeles to study the spread of Phoenician writing culture to ancient Greece. It is so energizing to be part of this vibrant and wide-ranging intellectual community in which our students are vital participants. We've gathered today to celebrate our students, and so without further ado, let me tell you how our program will proceed. First, we'll hear from 3 students about their extraordinary academic journeys in Jewish studies. Next, we'll recognize seniors who are graduating with a major or minor in Jewish studies or modern Hebrew language. Then Professor Nancy Sinkoff will say a word about the Bildner Center. And finally, we will present fall and spring student awards for academic excellence and research in Jewish studies. But first, to kick it all off, Dean of Humanities, Rebecca Walkowitz, will say a few words of greeting. Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody. Well, first of all, welcome students, and congratulations to you on making it through this incredibly challenging year and on your success in your major and your minor and your participation in Jewish studies. It's very exciting to celebrate with you. Welcome also to families, to friends who've supported the students, to staff and to faculty colleagues. It's a great pleasure to be with you today. It's more than ever an occasion to celebrate. It's been a hard year. We always celebrate at these times of year in major kind of life transitions for students and for all of us. But in particular, in a year where we've had so much separation, it's so exciting, it's so moving. It's a wonderful opportunity to see each other face to face and kind of take stock of all that we've done together over the past year, and for many of you over the past 4 years. It strikes me that this group of us together, as we represent the Department of Jewish Studies and the Bildner Study Center for Jewish Life, we are creating an opportunity together for reflection, for the analysis, for action together, for the study of Jewish life, for the study of Jewish literature and languages and culture throughout history and into our present. These 2 units within the Division of Humanities and within the School of Arts and Sciences are contributing so much to our academic excellence and to the pursuit of beloved community, as Jonathan Holloway, our new rector's president, has laid out for us. So I'm enormously proud of the work we do here together and in the interrelation between the department and the center, and in the ways they contribute so much to our students who participate, but really to all of the School of Arts and Sciences and to Rutgers New Brunswick. We're a community working together, and I appreciate all the work that you do to help us be mindful of the history and present in which we gather. So without further ado, welcome again, students, and congratulations. So glad to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Jeffrey Chandler, who will introduce our 3 student speakers.
Thank you, Paula. And it is now my pleasure to introduce via video 3 of our graduating seniors to tell you something about their experiences in Jewish studies. First, we'll hear from Annabelle Nani Sinoff, who hails from Silver Spring, Maryland, and graduated in January with an English major, a double minor in Jewish studies and business administration, and as a member of the Honors College. For 2.5 years, Nani was research assistant to Professor Gary Rensburg. She served as the main point person for a project to digitize Hebrew manuscripts in special collections at Alexander Library. This project will soon be made publicly available at Kativ, the database of the National Library of Israel. This work also generated Nani's capstone project for the Honors College, and she'll tell you about this in her presentation. We wish Nani well as she embarks on the next phase of her journey, and of course, we hope she'll stay in touch with the Department of Jewish Studies.
Hello, I'm Annabelle, or Nani Sinoff. My first experience with the Jewish Studies department was when I took a class freshman year that was not actually part of the department. I took an honors interdisciplinary seminar called How Do We Know This with Professor Rensburg, where we discussed how information from the ancient world was transmitted. After an awesome trip to the Met and some homemade bread, my natural next step was to take Jewish history, ancient and medieval, with Professor Rensburg the following semester. Having taken both this course and a Hebrew class with Orna Goldman to fulfill a language requirement, I was already a third of the way through the Jewish Studies minor and decided to continue on that track. I was able to take 2 classes with Professor Sinkoff on modern Jewish history and 1 with Professor Chandler on Holocaust memory, and I love how they blended with the rest of my course load, always looking forward to my single Jewish Studies class each semester. However, the central part of my Jewish Studies career began in the middle of my sophomore year when Professor Rensburg asked if I would be his research assistant. This position included lots of filing and sifting through digital Geniza fragments, which made me an expert at Geniza.org. But the main focus of my work was to assist Professor Rensburg on what turned into an almost 2-year-long project to digitize the 50 Hebrew manuscripts held in the special collections at Alexander Library. These manuscripts have been sitting in a box, unconserved, for about 55 years. These documents comprise the Adolf C. and Ann Robeson collection of Hebrew manuscripts gifted to Rutgers by a New Jersey family in the early 1960s. All 50 documents were handwritten by Yemenite Jewish scribes during the 16th to 19th centuries, mostly Bible and Targum, but other texts as well. When Professor Rensburg found out about the National Library of Israel's Ketiv project, whose goal is to digitize all of the Hebrew manuscripts around the world and compile them into one database, he wanted Rutgers University to get involved. My role in the project was to inspect each individual manuscript, number thousands of pages by hand, update the catalog, and oversee some of the photography, not to mention wait several months for approval from both of the libraries involved. Our close relationship with the manuscripts gave us a chance to observe the nuances of each folio and binding, sometimes peeling away layers to reveal older manuscripts that had been used to build the original binding. For many, the deeper layers came from other handwritten Hebrew manuscripts that had been repurposed to create the thick cardboard-like cover. This observation led to what became my honors capstone research project. After some convincing of the honors college to let me do my capstone in my minor instead of my major, I began work on my capstone, which involved identifying those fragments from the Robeson collection bindings and uploading them to the Books Within Books database, which has been cataloging Hebrew binding fragments from around the world since 2007. An example of a fragment that I worked with was the one found in manuscript 26, as you can see here. The inside of the back cover displays a fragment with 2 columns of Torah scroll, as indicated by the absence of vocalization. This fragment was relatively simple to identify since many of the words are visible and it contains only the original Hebrew of the Bible text. Once I realized that 2 different columns are exposed, a quick search using Svaria.org identified the excerpts as parts of Deuteronomy 13 and 17. When we pulled back a layer of the top right corner, another fragment of the same scroll is visible, showing Deuteronomy 17, having been pasted back to back with the other fragment. And here's a photo of the final database entries for the 5 manuscripts I worked on from the Books Within Books website. I feel so fortunate to have been able to be so involved in undergraduate research through the Jewish Studies Department. The commitment that the department has to scholarly pursuits is what brought the Robeson collection to Rutgers in the first place, and that continued dedication to that goal is how I found myself becoming part of a larger scholarly community at such a formative stage of my academic career. I was able to do research that I was interested in while having the proven support of the Jewish Studies Department behind me. I would like to thank the whole department for offering me opportunities to learn more about my culture in a new and rewarding way, both through classes and research. And a special thank you to Professor Rensburg for all of his help and encouragement academically and beyond. Thank you for guiding me into a world of academia I would have never found on my own. Thank you.
Thank you, Nani. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Esther Martins. Esther hails from New Brunswick, New Jersey, and she graduates this year with a major in computer science and, moreover, a longstanding love of Yiddish, which she was able to pursue through the Department of Jewish Studies. In addition to taking Yiddish language and literature classes offered by the department, Esther enrolled in the Steiner Summer Yiddish program at the Yiddish Book Center in Amherst, Massachusetts. There, Esther transcribed and Romanized the catalog of the Yiddish newspaper of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, which she'll discuss in her presentation. This experience inspired Esther to further deepen her knowledge of Yiddish, and we're delighted that the Bildner Center and the Department of Jewish Studies were able to support Esther's study of Yiddish with an award so that she could enroll this spring in a Yiddish language course offered by the YIVO Institute. And Esther will tell you about this experience as well. It has been a very special pleasure to teach Esther and to watch her interest in Yiddish flourish. And we wish her all the very best as her journey continues.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther. I am a senior in the computer science department and a recipient of the Jewish Studies Research Award, which enabled me to pursue Yiddish language learning at the YIVO Institute this semester. The fact that I consider myself a Yiddishist is in no small part due to the Yiddish language opportunities offered at Rutgers. Coming to Rutgers, I knew that I wanted to engage with my Jewish identity in a meaningful way, and Yiddish was on my radar, but it seemed inaccessible at the time. So learning that Rutgers offered Yiddish through the Big Ten Academic Alliance Course Share program and the 2 semesters that I spent learning with Professor Mahalel through the University of Maryland opened up a whole world, culturally, academically, and socially speaking. The language is significant to me not just because of personal sentimental reasons, but because there is so much that has been locked on the other side of a linguistic barrier. There's literature, history, and ways of expression that are uniquely Jewish. Learning it felt like an important act of cultural continuity, although the Yiddish of the classroom is so different from the vast majority of vernacular Yiddishes. And so it was because of the Yiddish language curriculum at Rutgers that I was motivated to apply to the Steiner program at the Yiddish Book Center, which is located on the campus of Hampshire College in Amherst. It was at the Steiner program that I worked as an archival intern, transcribing and transliterating the contents of Gerechtigkeit, the weekly Yiddish periodical published by the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. The ILGWU is an extremely important and influential organization in the history of labor activism, and was responsible for organizing noteworthy strikes like the Great Revolt of 1910 and the Uprising of the 20,000, and it had a huge Yiddish-speaking constituency, including a mostly Jewish board for much of its existence. Some of the people pictured in this photograph here, although they were part of a local board, would later go on to edit and write for Gerechtigkeit. So the newspaper itself is very interesting because the ILGWU published it alongside other weekly newspapers, which were written in the various primary languages of its constituents. However, each newspaper appears to have been written and edited separately rather than being translations of the same text. So seeing what each newspaper highlighted was often a lesson in what the different groups valued or were invested in at the time. So being able to make those archives accessible and searchable was extremely gratifying because it felt like an act of unsealing the history of Yiddish speakers who were involved in this pivotal political movement. And here's a page of advertisements from Gerechtigkeit, and these are some strikers during the uprising of the 20,000. So coming out of that program, I knew that I had to continue studying Yiddish. And again, the Jewish Studies department came through. Because of their award, I was able to sign up for lessons at YIVO, which is the famous Institute for the Preservation of Yiddish Culture and Language, which is now housed at the Center for Jewish History in New York City. It's responsible for developing the standardized Yiddish that's spoken in classrooms worldwide. And it was at the YIVO Institute that I ended up unexpectedly reuniting with old classmates of mine who took Yiddish with Professor Mahalel. It feels extremely special that we found each other again in Yiddish land. So I would like to thank everyone in the Jewish Studies department who has made this whole journey possible. I can say with certainty that I would not have gotten this far with Yiddish if it hadn't been for the support, resources, and academic strength of the Jewish Studies department. And beyond just Yiddish, the courses that I've taken and the work that I've done within Jewish Studies have sincerely been the most formative and meaningful of anything that I've done in college. So I would like to thank Professor Mahalel, Professor Drinkwater, Professor Rensberg, and Professor Chandler for their wonderful teaching, guidance, and for shaping my college experience so profoundly. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. And now let me introduce Christine Jensen. Christine hails from Neshannock Station, New Jersey, and she graduates this year with a double major in Jewish Studies and Religion and a minor in history. As part of the Religion Masters 4+1 program at Rutgers, Christine will return to campus next year to complete her master's degree in religion with a focus on the Hebrew Bible. It's been a pleasure for us in the departments of both Jewish Studies and Religion to teach Christine over the years, as she has delved into the study of ancient Israel, Second Temple Judaism, and both modern and biblical Hebrew. Next, Christine will present some of her research on the Dead Sea Scrolls and Jewish sectarianism. We look forward also to Christine's continued presence at Rutgers next year and to her planned master's thesis on female sacrifice in the Hebrew Bible.
Hi everyone, my name is Christine Jensen and I'm a senior double majoring here at Rutgers in Jewish Studies and Religion. Because of the different Jewish Studies and Religion professors I've had, I've been able to focus most of my study on ancient Israel and Second Temple Judaism, alongside a lot of Hebrew study. I'm also part of a 4+1 master's program in religion here at Rutgers, meaning that I will be part of the Rutgers community for another year. In this program, I've been able to focus my research so far on different Hebrew texts of antiquity. This would not have been able to happen had it not been for the patience and willingness of Jewish studies professors along the way. Truly, I cannot begin to express the ways that Professor Goldman and Professor Rensburg have helped me in this journey of not even knowing different letters of the Hebrew alphabet to being able to read these texts in the original language and analyze them. Last semester, I was given the opportunity in 2 different classes to analyze different Dead Sea Scroll texts in the original Hebrew. In the first class, Theory and Methods in the Study of Religion, I was able to analyze the Community Rule, which is one of the major Dead Sea Scroll texts, and that will be pictured right here. I was able to analyze this text to see how theories of sectarianism that traditionally use Protestant Christian vocabulary can be adapted to explain different aspects of the community described in the text. For example, one of the terms that I challenged and reworked was church, which traditionally was understood as traditionalist, appealing to the dominant classes, and was integrated with the world. As can be imagined, this did not translate easily into the world of the secluded Essene sect at Qumran. I was also given the chance to analyze the Qumran Beatitudes in my Dead Sea Scroll class last semester. One of the major aspects that I focused on while analyzing this text was the ways in which this text related to the Christian Beatitudes found in the Gospel of Matthew. For example, this is one of the many fragments of the Qumran Beatitudes. But for example, one way that the Christian Beatitudes and the Qumran Beatitudes relate and or part from each other is that the Qumran Beatitudes focuses largely on the character of Lady Wisdom and how one interacts with her. The Christian Beatitudes, however, tend to focus on eschatological or future benefits, while the Qumran Beatitudes focus on more direct and immediate benefits from seeking Lady Wisdom herself. As there are some similarities, such as structure and a certain emphasis placed on purity between the Christian Beatitudes and the Qumran Beatitudes, this can be explained by the larger Jewish presence of wisdom literature. Another important finding from the Qumran Beatitudes is the ways in which it relates to the first chapter of Psalms. For example, the Qumran Beatitude text explains that man is meant to meditate in Lady Wisdom. Psalm 1:2 uses the same word, explaining one who meditates on the Torah day and night. This similarity explains to the ancient readers or listeners that this Qumran text must be understood by using the prototype presented by Psalm 1, which also features a beatitude saying that happy are those who do not follow the advice of the wicked. While I could talk all day about some of the other findings I found while doing this research, these are some of the main points. Again, I want to thank the Jewish Studies Department and professors because I am only able to do what I do now because of the knowledge I've gained from different Jewish Studies classes throughout these last 4 years. These classes have been some of the most meaningful and thought-provoking classes that I've had the opportunity to take throughout college, and I would truly not be who I am today without them. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Christine. And now it's my pleasure to turn the proceedings over to my colleague, Professor Gary Rensburg.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. And it is now my distinct honor and pleasure to present the graduating Jewish Studies majors and minors, one of the main events of our ceremony this afternoon. I'm going to suggest the following. I'm not sure how many of you can see how many windows, but as I call the names, and you'll see a slide for each one, you can do a little clap like this, perhaps. And then at the end, when everyone is all done, we'll unmute ourselves and actually hear some real applause for this remarkable group of graduates, class of 2021. Christine Jensen, from whom you just heard, is graduating with a double major in Jewish studies and religion and a minor in history. But as you've also just heard, since Christine is also a student in the Religion 4+1 BA MA program, we will have her in our midst for one more year as she completes her MA degree. Christine's eventual plan is to proceed to do a PhD in biblical studies. Congratulations, Christine. Julian Biller is graduating with a political science major and a Jewish studies minor. Congratulations, Julian. Grace Logan is graduating with a biological sciences major and a Jewish studies minor. This coming July, Grace will commence the DPM degree, Doctor of Podiatric Medicine, at Des Moines University College of Podiatric Medicine and Surgery in Des Moines, Iowa. Congratulations, Grace. Brianna Newman is graduating with a political science major and a double minor in Jewish studies and Middle Eastern studies. Up next for Brianna, studying for the LSAT exam as she prepares to apply to law school to pursue a career in the legal profession. Congratulations, Brianna. Yael Rabin. Yael graduated in January 2021 with a BS in public health and a double minor in Jewish studies and sociology. Immediately upon her graduation, Yael began her MPH, Master's in Public Health Studies, at the Rutgers School of Public Health with a concentration in social and behavioral health sciences. Congratulations, Yael. Kaylee Shapiro. Kaylee also graduated in January with a human resources management major and a double minor in Jewish studies and labor studies. Since graduating, she has been working as the people operations coordinator at Progeny, a fertility benefits administrator located in New York City. Now, my prepared remarks said that within the weeks ahead, Kaylee will be moving to Israel, but I saw a Facebook post this morning, you have to keep up with the times, and it looks like she's already moved to Israel, so I'm not quite sure yet. And there she plans to pursue a master's degree in organizational behavior and development at the Interdisciplinary Center, the IDC, in Herzliya. Congratulations, Kaylee. Annabelle, or Nani Sinoff, from whom you also heard, also graduated in January with an English major and a double minor in Jewish studies and business administration, as you learned. Immediately upon graduation, Nani began working as the production assistant for the children's division at HarperCollins Publishers. And in this role, Nani oversees the transition of books from the digital files to the actual physical book, as she works closely with the printers and the binders to ensure that the book matches the visions of the author and the editor and the designer. Congratulations, Nani. Amber Sofer is graduating with a political science major and a Jewish studies minor. And starting in a few weeks, as soon as the semester is over, Amber plans to take a post-college gap year with some time to relax and to travel when such is possible again, all the while studying for the LSAT exam and applying to law schools with the intent of beginning law school in the fall of 2022. Congratulations, Amber. Avi Summer is graduating with a philosophy major and a double minor in Jewish studies and history. But we do not need to say goodbye to Avi, for starting in fall 2021, he will commence the PhD program in philosophy right here at Rutgers. So we look forward to seeing you, Avi, on our campus for several more years. Congratulations, Avi. Sam Weiner is graduating with a philosophy major and a Jewish studies minor. This summer, Sam plans to study at the Drisha Kollel program, studying classical Jewish texts. And then in his words, quote, "I'm on the job hunt," unquote. We have full confidence, Sam, with your Rutgers BA, that it shouldn't be a problem. Congratulations, Sam. It's now my pleasure to turn the podium over, the virtual podium, to our colleague, Orna Goldman, coordinator of the Modern Hebrew Language Program. And Orna will present to the students who are receiving the minor in Modern Hebrew Language. Orna.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Gary.
You're welcome.
And this is our, we are very pleased to congratulate two graduate with minor in Hebrew. One is Aaron Applebaum. He's graduating in August with linguistic major and modern Hebrew language minor. Congratulations, Aaron. And I hope to hear from you and see what you're doing next. Brandon Roberts is the next one. He graduates from Rutgers Business School with leadership and management, major in and minor in Hebrew language. Both are very devoted and very interested in Hebrew, and I congratulate both of you. And also, Brandon is going to law school in fall 2022. Kol hakavod v'mazal tov lishnechem. All the best and great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Orna. And now, as I said, let's actually hear some real applause. Unmute yourselves. And thank you and congratulations to all of our students. Really, absolutely wonderful. I had the pleasure of teaching almost every one of you on this list, and it's just so wonderful that we have such a great class of 2021. We want to hear a little bit more from our students, and it's my pleasure now to introduce this video montage of our students talking about their time at Rutgers in the Department of Jewish Studies.
Had a ton of amazing experiences thanks to the Bildner Center and also the Jewish Studies Department. For example, in the summer of 2019, I got to study at the YIVO Institute in New York City. I'm actually repping their shirt right now, which I wouldn't have otherwise been able to afford. I really just want to thank the entire department from the bottom of my heart for the amazing experience I had here.
I really love the Jewish Studies department here. One thing in particular that I love about it is how small the course sizes can be. I've taken a course, as a matter of fact, with as few as 3 students. Two of my favorite courses that I've taken in the Jewish Studies department have been readings in Biblical Hebrew poetry and readings in Biblical Hebrew prose, both with Professor Rensburg. They were small seminar courses in which we closely read Biblical Hebrew texts in the original, paying very careful attention to language and to literary characteristics.
Hi, my favorite part about being a Jewish Studies minor has been the professors in the Jewish Studies department. They're so amazing. You can tell how much they care about every lesson that they plan. They really separate themselves from the other departments at Rutgers because of this.
My favorite memory of Jewish Studies is having gotten the opportunity to study with Professor Orna Goldman for 6 semesters. Her classes were never about just the midterm or the final exam. You know, the main thing and the most important thing was always just about learning Hebrew, and it was something I really appreciated.
Students, thank you very much for those wonderful comments. It's now my pleasure to turn the platform over to Nancy Sinkoff, our colleague, Professor of History and Jewish Studies, and the Academic Director of the Alan and Joan Bildner Center for the Study of Jewish Life. Nancy.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm delighted to participate in the annual celebration of student achievement and to honor the graduates who have majored and minored in Jewish Studies. I can't really assimilate that this is our 2nd year doing a Zoom event, and I wish it were different, especially for the graduates whose past 3 semesters have been subject to COVID constraints. But you have really leaned in. You've continued and excelled in your studies, and you've completed your degrees. We're all so proud of you. The interdisciplinary Alan and Joan Bildner Center for the Study of Jewish Life, a unit of the School of Arts and Sciences, is fast approaching its 25th anniversary. The center is dedicated to reducing prejudice, educating the public on the complexity of Jewish civilization, enhancing cultural diversity, and it serves as a bridge between the university and the community through its rich breadth of public programming, the annual Rutgers Jewish Film Festival, cultural events, and teacher training in Holocaust education. The center works closely with the Department of Jewish Studies, offering seminars for faculty and a wide range of extracurricular programs, internship opportunities, and financial support for students, including the Awards for Excellence in Jewish Studies that we're celebrating today. The center also takes great pride in collaborating with other schools, units, and departments throughout the university, as well as academic institutions, cultural organizations, and scholars around the region, nationally and internationally. Our programs are in conversation with all the fields of the arts and sciences, as well as with STEM fields. The center has had a very busy remote year, beginning last summer with a 3-part mini-series on the Hebrew writer Shai Agnon, taught by the translator and writer Kurt Leviant, who was a longtime teacher in the Department of Hebraic Studies here at Rutgers. 2 film programs, one on the documentary Resistance about the mime Marcel Marceau, and one on Black Klansmen, which was written by 2 local New Jersey guys. And then we were off to the races with a very full roster of programs, public events, mini courses, faculty and graduate student seminars, teacher training, and the Rutgers Jewish Film Festival. The festival, which celebrated its 21st year, was virtual, but nonetheless attracted over 5,000 viewers or households, where it's hard to distinguish with the ticketing in virtual reality. Unfortunately, they all had to make their own popcorn. As in the past, the majority of the films were accompanied by thought-provoking conversations with actors, directors, and film professionals. The advisory committee of the film festival is already busy screening films for the fall, which will again be virtual, although we hope that in-person screenings will return sooner than later. The Holocaust Resource Center, one of the most important components of the Bildner Center's overall mission of prejudice reduction and outreach to the broader community, continued its work with teachers, many of whom were working double and triple time with their students, but still found a way to stay engaged with their commitment to Holocaust education and prejudice reduction. This summer, we will again hold an introductory course on the history of the Holocaust and an advanced seminar, and this summer it will be on the theme of gender and trauma for teachers. Despite this year's strains, the Bildner Center continued to create diverse, engaging, and intellectually challenging programs in the field of Jewish studies. We could do so because of the tireless, I want to underscore that, tireless dedication and hard work of the extraordinary staff, led by Karen Small, Managing Director, Jenny Gurman, Senior Department and Center Administrator, Sarah Portilla, Program Coordinator, Darcy Marr, Publications and Media Coordinator, and to Hannah Feldman, who has served as Administrative Assistant in a temporary capacity for over a year and is moving on to a graduate program at Trinity College in Environmental History, and we wish her all the best. To the students, your families and friends, we are so pleased to celebrate with you today. Your excellence in the field of Jewish studies is a credit to your hard work, and the Bildner Center is honored to be part of your education at Rutgers. If you're graduating, we hope you will stay in touch with us via our e-blast, email, the website, constant contact, and if you're in the area, at our public programs. For those of you who still have a year or two to go in your education, we look so forward to seeing you in person in real time next year. Congratulations again.
Good afternoon. I am delighted to speak about another student, Yvette Gonzalez Soto. We have been extremely lucky to have had her as a student worker. Oh, you know, she's just joining us, so hang on. Okay, we have been extremely lucky to have had Yvette Gonzalez Soto as a student worker for the Department of Jewish Studies and the Bildner Center for the past 4 years. So you hear the number 4, as you know, that's extremely lucky. A microbiology major and food science minor, Yvette is a highly motivated student who excels in her fields of study. She also excels in everything she does for us. And in 2020, Yvette was awarded 2nd place for the Student Employee of the Year Award at Rutgers University for her work with the department and the Bildner Center. She assists with many different tasks, from placing events on community calendars to writing thank you notes to providing excellent customer service throughout the year. I can't count the number of times I have told Yvette that I wish we could clone her. One of her main projects has been organizing the patron process for the annual Rutgers Jewish Film Festival. This donor campaign runs from June through November and requires organized and thorough follow-up. Yvette has set up a terrific system for processing payments and sending and tracking thank you letters, film selections, film passes, and attendance at our opening night receptions. She loves attending opening night at the film festival when she finally has the chance to put names and faces together. Yvette recently told me that she looks forward to a future time when she will have the means to send in her own check and become a patron of the Rutgers Jewish Film Festival. Congratulations on your graduation, Yvette, and please stay in touch.
I want to take the time now to mention not only 2, but 3 visiting scholars who were affiliated with the Bildner Center and the Department of Jewish Studies this year: Dr. Mark Herman, Dr. Greg Drinkwater, and Professor Jonathan Deckelhen. They all contributed to the intellectual life of the Department of Jewish Studies, the undergraduate program, and to the public-facing mission of the Bildner Center this year. Dr. Herman, who is in one of those boxes down there, and I'm just so delighted to see him, is a specialist in Judeo-Arabic and Jewish philosophy, and he taught a mini course in this field in the fall, as well as giving a faculty seminar. And I want to just again say how glad I am to see you, Dr. Herman, and also to celebrate the fact that you'll be a fellow at the Katz Center for Advanced Judaic Studies next year. That's just terrific and a credit to your scholarship. Dr. Greg Drinkwater's scholarly focus is on sexuality, gender, and Judaism in the modern United States. He was the Norman and Cyril Reitman visiting professor this spring and gave a faculty seminar on Hannah Arendt, Larry Kramer, and the AIDS epidemic, taught a mini course on the Jewish counterculture in the United States, and an undergraduate course on love and sex in American Judaism. We can now hear from Dr. Drinkwater live because he's on the call.
So thank you, Nancy. It was such a pleasure to teach both the mini course with community members and the undergraduate course on love, sex, and desire in American Judaism. And I just want to say a few words about that. For that course, my students and I explored key traditional Jewish texts related to love and sexuality, but we primarily focused on these topics in 20th century American Jewish history. And my students were all deeply engaged and eager to discuss everything from Jewish conceptions of marriage and the family to gender diversity, homosexuality, abortion, the erotic in Jewish sacred and secular literature, human trafficking and historical perspective, sexual violence, feminist activism, and the Me Too movement's impact on the Jewish communal world, among many other topics. Together, we read and analyzed some very difficult sections of the Hebrew Bible. We also read some scintillating Yiddish and Hebrew poetry. We listened to music and song about love and desire, engaged with radical political tracts about women's liberation and reproductive rights. And we watched a film about a nice middle-class suburban heterosexual Jewish couple in LA who for a couple of decades happened to run a gay pornographic bookstore. It's called Circus of Books, by the way, highly recommended. We also read a range of historical studies. It was an absolute pleasure to learn together with these students, and I was so deeply impressed with their intellectual curiosity, their generosity of spirit, and their adaptability to yet another Zoom-based semester. So I thank everyone in Jewish Studies and at the Bildner Center at Rutgers for so warmly welcoming me as a remote visiting scholar, and thank you to my students for making it such a delight to be with you all online.
Thank you, Greg. We really wish you could have been with us in close quarters and hope that we can do that in the future. The last visiting scholar I want to introduce, and unfortunately he's not on the call, but he's made a recording, is Professor Jonathan Deckelhen. He is the Rabbi Edward Sandro Chair in Soviet and East European Jewish history at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, where he holds a dual appointment in the Department of Jewish History and in the Department of General History. At Rutgers, he was the Alan and Joan Bildner Visiting Scholar. He taught a mini course on Soviet Jewish history, gave 2 faculty seminars, one in the Department of Jewish Studies and one through Cook College and SEBS, and he is currently at work and still at work on an online exhibit on Jewish agriculture in New Jersey. And I welcome Jonathan virtually, and we have recorded remarks from him.
Good evening. I'm sorry that I can't be with you. Family issues prevented it, but my name is Jonathan Deckelchen, and for the spring 2021 semester, I've had the great pleasure of serving as a Bildner visiting scholar. I'd like to thank Nancy Simkoff, who really did a yeoman's or yeowoman's job in making this visiting fellowship happen at all at the Bildner Center, despite all sorts of challenges presented by the COVID pandemic. Despite all the limitations imposed by remote platforms for learning, for teaching, and for meetings, through the Bildner Center at Rutgers University and the Jewish Studies program, I've had the opportunity of engaging with colleagues, students, and the general public in the Rutgers community. This happened by way of a number of programs. In February, I taught a 3-part online mini course for the general public that we called Tevia's Descendants, a short history of Soviet Jewry, that covered a lot of ground and had a very nice attendance. Also in February, I gave a lecture at Rutgers Department of Agricultural, Food, and Resource Economics at the Cook School of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, and together with the Department of Economics. The title of that lecture was Putting Agricultural History to Work Today, a Global Blueprint from the Jewish Past, which in an hour or so tried to encapsulate a very large programmatic proposal that I've made for mobilizing Jewish history of farming to help refugee communities today throughout the world. In March, I gave a separate lecture to the faculty and graduate students at the Bildner Center and the Jewish Studies program at Rutgers, and that lecture was titled The Memory of Violence and Its Deployment in Israel and the Diaspora. More recently, since the end of March, I've begun to engage in the creation and the building of an online exhibit, I think one of the first of its kind through the Bildner Center, that we've tentatively titled Jewish Farming in the Garden State. I've been helped along this journey since the end of March by a very talented graduate student at Rutgers named Jackie Hankard. The website, the exhibit, when completed, will be housed on the Bildner Center's website, and we hope will stir a lot of public interest in this unique but greatly forgotten slice of Jewish history in New Jersey, the history of farming. We hope to launch the exhibit by the end of June 2021. I do hope that we'll have opportunities in the future to continue this work and interact with the community at the Bildner Center and Rutgers overall. Until then, I'd like to express my deep appreciation for everyone at the Bildner Center, the Jewish Studies Department. It has been extremely enjoyable, and I hope everyone's benefited. I certainly have from this fellowship opportunity. Thank you.
And now I have the great pleasure of introducing my colleague, Dr. Michal Rauscher, who is actually on sabbatical. So we give her a lot of props for being here, but the department knows how indefatigable she has been as undergraduate director before she went on her sabbatical. So we're so delighted she's here, and she will present awards to some of our students.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It's a pleasure to be here. It is one of the great privileges being part of this department is to distribute financial support with the help of the Bildner Center to our wonderful students. So this is one of my favorite parts of this program. So first, I'm presenting an award to Ilana Berkman, a classics major with a minor in Jewish Studies, History, and Religion. Last summer, as part of Rutgers' certificate program in public history, she was an intern at the Jewish Heritage Museum of Monmouth County. and conducted research on the Jewish history of Western Monmouth County. When she graduates next year, she would like to work in the field of historical education, perhaps at a historical society or in a museum setting. Alana is receiving the Dr. Benjamin F. Glasser and Lillian Glasser Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Alana. Spencer Brown, a sophomore in the Rutgers Business School, hopes to pursue a career in supply chain management in the healthcare industry. His involvement in Jewish studies courses has helped to deepen his understanding of Jewish history and his own roots and heritage. It has also complemented his personal interest in Jewish genealogical history. He is receiving the Betty and Julius Gilman Memorial Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Spencer. Grace Herdelin, a chemical engineering major, has long had an interest in Jewish studies and plans to declare it as her minor. She would like to pursue a career as a process engineer when she graduates next year and hopes also to earn an MBA. She is receiving the Dr. Benjamin F. Glasser and Lillian Glasser Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Grace. Christine Jensen, who spoke earlier, has a double major in Jewish studies and religion and a minor in history. Christine will continue at Rutgers next year to complete her master's degree in religion. She hopes ultimately to earn a PhD and to work in a research setting with a focus on ancient Israel and the Hebrew Bible. She is receiving the Baruch S. and Pearl W. Seidman Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Christine. Yiban Kim, a freshman majoring in history, has taken courses in Jewish history, languages, and the Bible. She is fascinated by the study of the Bible in the context of world history. After graduating, she hopes to become an educator. Yiban is receiving the Alexander and Ruth Seaman Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Yiban. And Samuel Lurie, a sophomore majoring in Jewish studies, chose to attend Rutgers largely because of its strength in Jewish studies. While at Rutgers, he has read and translated the Dead Sea Scrolls from the original Hebrew and analyzed textual variants of the Babylonian Talmud. A deeper understanding of Jewish history has heightened his sense of connection to modern Jewish politics and social challenges. Sam is receiving the Rudolph and Mary Solomon Klein Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Samuel. Please feel free to unmute and join me in celebrating these awards. It is now my honor to introduce my colleague, Dr. Azania Dean Israel, who will continue with our program.
Thank you, Michal. And it is indeed my pleasure to introduce the next round of our award recipients. So first of all, congratulations to Rihanna Newman, who chose to attend Rutgers in part because of its Jewish Studies department and declared her minor in the field as a freshman. She graduates this month with a major in political science and a double minor in Middle Eastern and Jewish Studies. In her Middle Eastern Studies senior seminar, she focused on Iranian Jewish participation in the Iranian Revolution of 1979. She also researched the response of Jewish community institutions to COVID-19 for her recent Jewish Studies course on religion and media. She intends to apply to law school and pursue a career in human rights and labor justice. Brianna is receiving the Louis Fishman Memorial Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Brianna. Next up is Brooke Ramos, a double major in Jewish Studies and English with a minor in Holocaust Studies. She's receiving the Maurice Meyer III and Irma Meyer Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. This award will help fund her participation in the Yiddish Book Center's Steiner Summer Yiddish program, which offers immersion in Yiddish language and culture. She's also actively seeking online internship opportunities with a Jewish Heritage or Holocaust Museum. She hopes to attend graduate school for further study of Holocaust-era literature and media with a focus on Yiddish-speaking communities. Her overarching goal is a career in Holocaust education and genocide prevention. Congratulations, Brooke. Please join me in congratulating Amy Rosen, who is a linguistics major with a double minor in Jewish studies and psychology. She's drawn to the interdisciplinary nature of Jewish studies and the ease with which she can apply her linguistics and psychology backgrounds to her studies in the field. For a recent Jewish studies course on religion and media, she explored how various synagogues in New Jersey have altered their worship practices during the pandemic and the concomitant effects on these communities. Amy is also an Oresti research assistant for the Laboratory of Developmental Language Studies, where she collects and analyzes linguistic data in order to better understand language acquisition in children. She hopes ultimately to become a clinical speech language pathologist for children. Amy is receiving the Dr. Benjamin F. Glasser and Lillian Glasser Award for Excellence in Jewish Studies. Congratulations, Amy. Esther Martins, who spoke earlier, is a graduating senior with a major in computer science. This past fall, she received the Leonard and Adele Bloomberg Award for Research in Jewish Studies, which enabled her to expand her knowledge of the Yiddish language through a course at the YIVO Institute. Congratulations, Esther. Finally, Stephen Weinberg is a doctoral candidate in the German department. This past fall, he received the Deborah S. and Herbert B. Wasserman Award for Research in Jewish Studies in support of his dissertation on Franz Kafka's use of Jewish humor. The funding has enabled him to study at Humboldt University in Germany with several prominent Kafka scholars. He's researching how and why Kafka's work has largely been filtered through the prism of the Holocaust and how this has influenced its incorporation into the German high school curriculum. He's particularly interested in how Kafka's Jewish identity and use of Jewish humor, which are key to appreciating his literary works, have largely been ignored. Congratulations, Stephen, and please join me in offering a non-muted thanks to everyone. So congratulations to all the recipients. At this point, I would like to introduce a montage that we, the faculty, have made for you, the students and the award recipients.
Congratulations to the class of 2021, to all of our award winners and all of our students. We are so proud of you. We hope you have a wonderful summer, and we hope very much that you'll stay in touch.
I want to wish everyone hearty congratulations on your achievements and accomplishments, but especially to our graduating seniors, majors and minors in Jewish studies. It has been wonderful to teach you, to get to know you, to engage with you, to learn together as we explored so many topics in history and religion and language and literature. May you go from strength to strength, as one says in Hebrew, Michael L'chael, as you now embark on your post-Rutgers career. Please stay in touch with us in the years to come. We'd love to hear of your future activities. Award winners, congratulations to you as well on your well-deserved honors. May you use your awards in the future academic year to enhance your study within the Department of Jewish Studies and beyond. We look forward to having everyone back on campus in the fall of 2021. This past year, 2021, especially for graduating seniors, is probably not what you expected when you entered as first-year students several years ago. But here you are, you've done it. You've made it through, you're graduating. For our returning students to repeat, see you in fall 2021. Congratulations to all majors, minors, graduating seniors, and award winners.
I'd like to congratulate all of our students for making it through such a challenging year. And so many of you did really fine work under these very difficult circumstances. It's something to be very proud of, the accomplishments you've had this year. I hope you all have a great summer, relaxing, happy, and above all, healthy. My best wishes to you all.
Congratulations, graduates and prize winners. Kudos for your good work. Continue like that and have a wonderful future.
Dear Jewish Studies majors, dear Jewish Studies minors, dear Jewish Studies award winners, congratulations to everyone. This has been a year like no other. Many things have changed, but one thing that has not changed is that we wish you all the best and are very proud of the work that you've done and are excited to see what you do in the next phase. Congratulations to everyone.
Hello. It's a thrill to share this moment of celebration with you and to think back on everything that you've accomplished. All that hard work has paid off, and now you're graduating. You should be so proud of yourselves. We're certainly proud of you. Congratulations, and best of luck for everything that comes next.
Congratulations, graduates. I am so sorry we can't celebrate in person together, but from the bottom of my heart, I wish you all the luck and good wishes on your next steps. It has been an amazing several years working with you and getting to know you, and I know that your drive and your determination will take you to great heights. Please be in touch if you have any questions or need anything in the future. We're always here for you, and we hope we get to hear lots of great things from you.
To all of the graduates and the awardees, I want to extend my heartiest congratulations to you. Congratulate the seniors who have had 3 semesters of pandemic education. And I wish it had been different. I wish we could be in person. But I hope all of you and all the awardees feel a great sense of honor for what you've accomplished in this very trying time. And know that all of us in the Department of Jewish Studies and at the Bildner Center are incredibly proud of you, what you've done, and who you will become. So congratulations again to all of you.
It falls to me to offer some closing remarks here, but first I'll ask Jenny to advance the screen by 1 image, please, because we need to say some very special thank yous to 2 of the staff members who were mentioned earlier. Jenny Gurman is a face to all of our students. They all know her, they email with her, she answers in times when, of course, we're all on campus together. They stop by at 12 College Avenue. Jenny, we can't thank you enough for all of the work that you do. Kudos on the award that you received this past year from SAS. We thank you. Jenny was instrumental in putting this entire program together. She gets a very, very special applause for all the work that you do, always with such a smile and great efficiency. And Darcy Marr is someone who works behind the scenes, whom the students don't see. She works for both the Bildner Center and the Department of Jewish Studies as our communications coordinator, especially involved with our annual newsletter. Darcy, thank you for all the work you did and also had a role in today's ceremony as well. So we wanted to thank both Jenny and Darcy to take this opportunity. I'm going to ask Jenny to stop sharing the screen so we can actually get everybody. Oh yes, and there's your dessert for afternoon pastries. Thank you, Jenny, for that as well. I'm going to ask everybody to stop sharing the screen, Jenny to stop sharing the screen. If we can get everybody, we want to do a gallery view with a few screenshots here. We have more than 1 screen, and if everybody's okay, smiling at the camera and then getting some of these up on our Facebook page and the department website. So thank you, smiles everybody, great. There's group 1. Okay, it's gonna take me a second here, I'm sorry. And let me advance the screen and do this for group 2. 1 more minute. Thank you all, smiles. And hopefully the technology will work. Yes, it did. Greg, excellent. Okay. Thank you for all of your cooperation on that. And the final words to say as we conclude this program, it's hackneyed. You probably have heard it before, but I can really think of no better way to end our program, and especially for our graduating seniors, is to quote Rabbi Hanina of old, quoted in the Babylonian Talmud as follows: I have learned much from my teachers. I have learned even more from my colleagues. but most of all, I have learned from my students whose learning surpasses that of all of the others. I certainly speak that way. I know I speak for all of my colleagues as well. Thank you, students. You are such a pleasure to teach. We miss seeing you in person, but at least we got to see all of you today in our little Zoom boxes. For those of you who are returning, we look forward to seeing you on campus in fall 2021. And for those of you who are graduating and moving on to your post-Rutgers careers, as I said in the video, from strength to strength, really, we look forward to your accomplishments and achievements. Please stay in touch with us. Please come back and visit. The world will be what it once was before, as we'll be able to actually engage in human contact. Thank you all, friends, teachers, faculty members, colleagues, students, family members, friends, deans, guests from Hillel, and everyone else who's been part of the program today. And with that, we'll conclude our program and wave goodbye to everybody. And just thank you so much for all that you do, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.